Super Tuesday is always a major milestone in the presidential nominating calendar. It's when the most states vote all at once, some 800 delegates up for grabs. This year, both sides have had much more of a coronation than a competition. The results this Super Tuesday were broadly in line with what we were expecting. Nearly a clean sweep for Donald Trump, winning many of these states by a 2-to-1 margin. Donald Trump's advisors had been anticipating that he would try to pivot to the general election, and indeed that is what we saw him do in his victory speech.
We're going to win this election because we have no choice. If we lose the election, we're not going to have a country left.
These Super Tuesday wins put hundreds more delegates in Donald Trump's column, which means that he could wrap up the nomination, the approximately 1,200 delegates needed to clinch the nomination, in a matter of weeks. The writing has been on the wall for Nikki Haley for a while now. There really hasn't been any path to victory, and we saw her finally acknowledge that fact in dropping out of the race. There's been a lot of speculation about what the future might hold for her, what her motives might have been for staying in the race this long. We saw her really take a hard turn against Donald Trump in these later primaries.
I voted for Donald Trump twice. I was proud to serve America in his administration. But chaos follows him. And we can't be a country in disarray and a world on fire and go through 4 more years of chaos. We won't survive it.
The question, I think, on everyone's mind is, will she now turn around and endorse him? Can she find it in her heart to support him? Nikki Haley hasn't been much of a factor in the race for the nomination, but she has been an inconvenience for Donald Trump.
Such a great crowd. It's great to be here in Virginia.
The fact that voters keep showing up, and 30 or 40% of Republican primary voters in state after state continue to cast votes for her, despite the inevitability of Trump's nomination. That's a really inconvenient fact for Trump and the Trump campaign, and it really speaks to his potential weakness in the general election, that there are so many voters in his own party who object to him. So having her out of the race really does help him begin to unify the Republican Party and to begin to make an argument that he represents all Republicans, even as we know that many of those Republicans are not sold on him as a general election candidate. Joe Biden also had a near clean sweep of the primaries. He lost in American Samoa, but that's not a very big delegate prize. One strange feature of this 2024 election is that even though we know that many Democrats have doubts about Joe Biden's ability to perform in this campaign, are concerned about his age, and wish that there might be another nominee, they have not chosen to vote for any other candidate. Even the attempts to stage a sort of protest vote against him, primarily as a result of his Israel policies, have not gotten very far. We see Biden winning 80–90% in state after state across the map in these contests. So Democrats are resoundingly behind him as their nominee. Traditionally, Super Tuesday is a real pivot point in the primary calendar. This year, it has been a bit anticlimactic. We have really known since before the primaries began who the likely Republican nominee was going to be. And of course, with an incumbent Democratic president, there was very little mystery about who the nominee would be on the Democratic side. So while this Super Tuesday does represent an important milestone, it hasn't been much of a surprise.